guys, so today we're checking out the Baja Designs S1 reverse lights fitting all 2021 and newer Ford Broncos. So if you're currently struggling when it comes to rear end visibility and you're looking for a boost in lighting out of the back end of your Bronco, this kit by Baja Designs will definitely get the job done. Now this will consist of a bracket that's going to mount into the center of your spare tire, and it's going to house the lights on either side. Now when those lights are mounted up, not only are they going to give you some really good visibility out of the back end, but they'll be able to be positioned to your personal preference, giving you the upgraded visibility that you would need in your personal circumstance. Now taking a closer look at the lighting and the construction of what is included in the kit, you'll have two lights that will have a 42-degree flat wide spread beam, which will offer the distance and width for full coverage out of the rear end of your Bronco. These are also going to utilize high-intensity LEDs at roughly 2400 lumens as far as the output is concerned, and 5000 K color temperature, which is going to be incredibly crisp as far as the light is concerned, and it's going to be a bright white color temperature. These will also be super durable with an aluminum housing, a black powder coat finish for corrosion resistance, and a hard polycarbonate lens on the front for impact resistance. Not to mention they're also going to be IP69K rated, which is one of the highest dust and waterproof ratings to ensure that no dust or water is going to get in and potentially harm the LED inside or fog up this lens. Now the bracket is going to be solid as well, making sure that everything stays in place, and we'll have a nice black powder coat finish, not only to protect the materials underneath from rusting, but also to match with any other textured black accessories. Now the kit will also include a relay harness. You're going to get a 10-foot extension and a 2-pin splitter, making the wiring process incredibly straightforward, perfect for the Bronco owner who doesn't want to do a bunch of wiring, just wants something that's going to be pretty simple and upfront. Now this will also have the option to add a license plate relocation bracket if you upgrade your bumper or want to switch things around. This does give you the ability to upgrade in the future. Now when it comes to price, this kit will come in at right around the $400 mark, and for what you're getting, I think that is a pretty fair price. Now something to keep in mind is that compared to some other choices, again, this is going to be very inclusive, offering all the brackets, mounts, and wiring that you need in order to get your Bronco set up. This will also have a very high lumen output, waterproof rating, and impact rating, making this great for the Bronco owner who's looking for some of the best when it comes to the lights. Not to mention, this will be customizable, so if you want to upgrade in the future to a license plate relocation bracket, you can definitely do so, as where some other options may not give you that choice. Now overall, I think if you're looking for an inclusive and solid as well as durable lighting kit that's going to give you great performance as far as the lighting is concerned, then this is going to be the kit to choose. Now as far as install is concerned, I'm going to give this a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you about 2 hours to get the job done with some basic hand tools. One of our installers here is going to show you how to get that done step by step. So that's going to wrap it up for my review. Let's go ahead and get into the install.
The tools you're going to need for this installation include a pair of diagonal cutters, a drill, an electric or regular ratchet, trim removal tool, a 3/4 inch or step bit, 3mm hex head socket, 10mm, 11mm, 17, 19mm sockets, electrical tape, 10 and 11mm wrenches. How's it going, everybody? Today we have a set of reverse lights that we're going to install on the 21 Bronco. I'm going to show you how to do it step by step, so let's get started. First step in the installation of our reverse lights is to replace the stock lug nuts that are on our spare tire. Now, we have an aftermarket wheel in here, so we have tuner lug nuts. So I have a tuner lug nut socket. If you're still rocking a stock spare tire, you'll be using 19mm socket. So we're going to remove these one at a time and then replace them with the 17mm lug nuts that come in the kit. And we're doing this one at a time, so again, these are tightened with a 17mm socket, so I'll be switching my sockets back and forth. Also, make sure you're starting these by hand so we don't cross thread the lug nuts or the lug studs. Next, we're going to install our mounting plate for our lights onto the studs that we just installed on our spare tire. So there is the bolts that come included with the kit, as well as washers. These washers are going to be used for spacing out our mounting plate from our spare tire. How many washers you use depends on if you have an aftermarket wheel or not. So I'm gonna show you exactly what we're gonna do with our aftermarket tire. So we're gonna test fit our light bracket against our spare tire. So what we wanna do is, with my aftermarket wheel, I actually have a gap in between the bracket and the spare tire when I put the plate all the way up against it. And I don't want it touching the tire, I want it to be seated against the lug nuts that we installed. So if I put 2 washers in between, that'll be good for our setup. So just determine, it comes with a bunch of washers, just determine how many washers you're gonna need so that it sits against the lug nuts and not the wheel. I'm gonna put a washer on the bolt that comes provided. And then I'm gonna put it through the mounting hole, and then I'm gonna put 2 washers on behind. And I'm gonna do that for each of the 3 bolts. All right, once you have them all threaded in, a few threads by hand, we're gonna tighten these down with a 19mm socket. So we're at the workbench because we have to prep these lights with the mounts before we install them on to the bracket that we installed on the spare tire. And we have a couple components here, as you can see, along with the lights. We have these swivel brackets and some hardware, and I'm gonna show you how to put this on the light step by step. All right, so before we put this together, I just wanna make a quick note that when you do mount this, make sure it's oriented in this fashion so that our swiveling bracket here is slanted towards the back. But first, we are gonna grab our hex head bolt here with a flat washer and put it through our swiveling mount with the other flat washer on the other side, and then our nylon locking nut. And we're just gonna put that on by hand for now. All right, once that's together, I'm gonna mount it to the light. Again, just make sure that it is mounted in this orientation. Now we're gonna take our button head bolts here, put them through the mount and into the light, which is threaded. So just put them into the threaded holes of the light by hand, a couple threads, and you might only be able to get 1 or 2 threads in because there is Loctite already on these button head bolts. Right, once you have those in, a couple threads by hand, grab your 3mm hex head socket and put them in a few more threads, as far as you can by hand, I would say. And if you can get them all the way in by hand without a ratchet, that is great. So that one I got in almost all the way just with the socket itself. This one is a little tougher, but it seems to be going. All right, once you got it in as far as it'll go, grab your ratchet, and I actually wouldn't use, if you have just a regular ratchet, I would suggest that. So I'm just using my electric ratchet as a regular ratchet. I'm not gonna hit it with the power. And then just tighten these bolts down until they stop. You don't have to snug them because we want to be able to adjust this bracket once we mount it. All right, just like so. And it's going to be the same exact steps and the same exact hardware for the other side. Now to mount our reverse lights up, we're going to take that nylon locking nut off. We're going to leave both of the flat washers on the bolt that we put on earlier. And in the kit, you want to grab another flat washer to put on top of our spare tire mount, and then put the locking nylon locking nut back on. And to tighten it down, we're going to use an 11mm wrench and 11mm socket. You can position it where you'd like it at this point, and then just tighten it the rest of the way down. All right. And again, we're just going to do the same exact steps for the other side. Now from the kit, you want to grab the wire splitter as well as the 10-foot extension cable and a few of the zip ties. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect the splitter to one of our light power wires, connect the extension to that, and then route it through the tire. Okay, so we're going to take the splitter and we're just going to connect one of the light power wires at this time. So make sure it clicks into place with this tab right there. Now we're going to connect our 10-foot extension wire, same fashion. Now we want to take all of our wire and feed it through one of the spokes in the wheel. And we're gonna go to the other side here and just pull it the rest of the way through so that we can connect the other light power wire behind the wheel. So now from behind the tire, we're gonna pull the rest of the wire extension through along with the splitter that we connected to the one light power wire. Now you want to grab the other light power wire and connect it at this point. It's a little tight in here. I know it's a little hard to see, but I'll show you what I'm doing here in a second. All right, so I got both of the light connectors connected to the splitter. Now we're gonna take up all the 10-foot extension and we're gonna feed it through the center of our spare tire mount. Right through the middle here. Just feed all the wire all the way through and then come out the bottom. Once we pull the wire the rest of the way through the bottom, through our spare tire mount, we're gonna route this underneath the door sill here and attach it to the thick part of the strut. And then we're gonna feed it through the bumper and underneath the car. Just make sure that there is a little bit of slack there for opening and closing the door. All right, I'm gonna feed the rest through the bump here, and I'm gonna grab a set of diagonal pliers to trim these up. Now that we have all of our wire pulled through the back of the bumper, we're gonna start routing it along the bumper support here in the back. So up above this, and then we're gonna follow that all the way down the driver's side of the frame, and we're gonna follow that until we find the main wiring harness that's on the driver's side frame. So I've routed the wire along the rear bumper, and then I followed that to the driver's side frame, tucked it under the fender liner here as much as I could, and I'm just gonna continue to route the wire along the driver's side frame. And I am gonna go up and around any and everything that I can till I reach the main harness here along the frame. Now we have the battery side of the harness, and we're gonna take the connector end and take all of this length here, and we're gonna route it down the driver's side fender lining here. And when we route it down through here in the engine bay, it's actually gonna come out down the bottom side of our fender liner, and then we'll meet up right there with the driver's side frame, run it along there until we meet up with our harness extension. So while we're here and before we connect any of our wires together, we're gonna make sure that our negative battery terminal is disconnected, and we're gonna do that using our 10mm socket. Once you have it disconnected, you just tuck it behind this wire right here, this negative cable. Make sure it doesn't come in contact with the battery again. All right, now we're starting to route our power side of our harness with the connector going down in through our fender liner. And once I have all this tucked down in there, I'll go underneath and pull it through. All right, from underneath the vehicle, we can grab our connector and pull the rest of the wire through. And like I said, we're gonna take it up and around and follow it down the frame till we meet our other connector. And while I got you here, actually a couple quick side notes here. Just make sure that there's there's a bunch of brackets and wires in the way here. Just make sure that you're going on the inside of those, going around them and not coming through them and the fender liner. You want to be on the other side of everything. Again, I'm just bringing our power wire here along the frame and running it along the main harness of the vehicle to meet up here with the light side of our harness. And we can connect these together now. Now, once we have everything routed properly as far as these two wires are concerned, we're gonna go back and zip tie everything in place. We're back inside the engine bay, and from here, we're gonna connect our power wires. So if we lift up our protective cover here, we're gonna connect the positive/red lead to our positive side, and I'm gonna actually use this terminal lug right here to connect this. And again, this is a 10mm bolt. Once we have the positive connected, then we're gonna connect the negative to our negative lug and reconnect that to the battery. All right, this is a good point to test it out. Before we go any further, just to make sure they work. Once you have it tested out and everything looks good, the next thing we're gonna do is find a good spot to mount our relay here. Now, you can mount this however you'd like. My only suggestions would be to make sure that it is far away from heat or any sharp objects. As always, for this demonstration, I'm probably just gonna mount it right around our fuse/relay tray here with a zip tie. So we found a good spot to mount our relay here next to the fuse box, and we've tested them out. Everything's working good, so we can continue on. Now we're gonna route our switch here through the firewall, and there is a nice plug right here that you can remove, and we're actually gonna feed our wire and switch end wire through this. So ours is pre-slit as you see, but it's a good idea to make a couple slits in this so you can feed everything through and still have everything protected. So once you pull all the wire through, then feed it through the firewall here. And there's actually a little bit more wire, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull the rest of it through the grommet as well. And any extra wire that we have, we're gonna leave it inside the cabin. All right, once you have all the wire through the firewall, go ahead and plug your grommet back up. I'll show you exactly how we're gonna mount our switch to our kick panel here. We have our switch and our wires pulled through our firewall now, so I'm gonna show you how and where to mount this up. On your kick panel here, you take your trim removal tool and work it along the top edge here all the way across. You can pull this down by releasing the clips. Now, a good spot to route this is through this hole right here next to the hood release handle. And if you take a look here, you'll see that there's recessed circles throughout the kick panel. So theoretically, you could mount this anywhere, but there's two good locations here and here. So if you would like to mount on either of these spots here, just take your 3/4 inch drill bit and drill through the back, through the center of one of these holes. When you do that, take your switch and actually remove it. So if you don't have a picture of where the wires yet, make sure you have that so you can put this on properly. Once your hole is drilled, your wires are disconnected from your switch, go ahead and route your wires through the hole. Now, we won't be doing this for this demonstration, but I'm gonna try to show you here as good as I can. So once you have your hole drilled, your wires will be through at this point, and then you can reconnect your switch. At that point, pull the wires back through the hole until you get the switch to click into place in the hole that you drilled. For my purposes, I am just going to be putting this right here for the rest of the demonstration. That's going to wrap up this review and install of the Baja Designs S1 reverse lights for your 21 and newer Bronco. Thank you for watching, and for all things Bronco, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.